And welcome to the new edition of the Red Mountain Express, episode 20. I'm your host, Blake Westbrook. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Matthew Joyner. Mr. Joyner, 20 episodes, man.
20 episodes.
Just keeps building up every week.
Yeah, next week will be 21. We can count.
We can count.
How's it going, man?
Doing good. It's been a long week, but a good week. But I'm glad to. I was out of town all week on business down in Point Clear, Alabama, which is very beautiful. But when you're that far away from home,
down in Fairhope, right?
Right,
yeah.
right. I don't sleep well away from home, and so I was glad to get back into town. But no, it's been a good week. I had a pretty good weekend. Really didn't do too much just because I was tired from everything.
And it was hot outside.
And God, it was hot.
Right?
I thought it was Christmas.
It feels like June. It's not Christmas. It's November.
It's pre-Christmas. We're still in the pre-Christmas. Do you know that 96.5, I believe, will be playing Christmas music come tomorrow morning? If
you know who won't be playing it?
Who's that?
95.7.
You know, on the way over here, I passed by someone's house, and they were putting up Christmas lights. So hopefully you get to pass by that every day and see that and get into the Christmas spirit. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. We had one small incident where Laura turned on some Christmas music.
What song was it?
I can't tell you.
You can't? Or
no,
you won't?
all day yesterday it was stuck in my head, which is another reason I hate Christmas music because, well, no, I hate Christmas music.
You hate Christmas?
I hate Christmas music.
Why do you hate Christmas?
Don't take this out of context. I hate Christmas music
Grinch?
before Christmas because almost all of the songs are like those earworm type songs that get stuck in your head and you can't get rid of them.
No, they get stuck to your heart, Matthew. Stuck to your heart because it's Christmas.
Yeah. So, no, that all joking aside, good weekend. We went to the Moss Rock Festival yesterday. That was good. Walked around, saw a lot of different booths and craftsmen and artists. That was really cool. Of course, Beach and Woodworks was there. We stopped by and talked to them at their booth for a while. That was fun. They had a lot of different like food vendors out there, and of course, like some sweet treat type places. We got some ice cream. They had a beer garden set up.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of beer?
I didn't really go through it. It was like an extra $15. And I've got beer at home. Yeah. So we passed by that, but it looked like they had a pretty good setup there.
Well, it's a big festival now. It's grown to be
It was really big. I'm not sure how many booths, but we saw a lot. I mean,
the only thing that bothered me, because we were planning on going, but we found out you had to park at the Hoover Met and take a bus in. And we have a little one, and so, I mean, I'm sure it would have been fine, but it kind of, It
was fine, and I understand that, though. Like, so we, on the bus there and back, we were on the bus with the parents and their children with strollers and whatnot. But we live really close to Moss Rock. We could have walked down the mountain into Moss Rock, but they don't let you in. You have to go to the Met. You have to park there and get bussed in, and that irritated me a little bit, but it was fine. I mean, from the Met to Moss Rock is a 5-minute bus ride.
Yeah, it's not too bad. They do that at the Bluff Park Art Show, although you can... I mean, we parked at the church and walked into the Bluff Park Art Show, so it's kind of like that, but it's way far away.
So other than that, that was really my weekend. Of course, just stayed hot all weekend. Sweated today. God, I was like in the 80s today. After
it's weird.
Last Sunday it was in the 50s.
In the 30s last week, right?
Well, last week at the low was in the 30s, yeah. But we were watching a baseball game this time last week with my nephew, and we were wearing jackets. I mean, it was cold. So, yeah, did that, watched some football.
How'd your Auburn Tigers do this week?
Auburn went good, man. They had 42-27 versus Texas A&M.
I saw it was a game, and I was kind of watching it, and then all of a sudden they blocked a punt.
It was a game at the beginning.
I was like, well, this is over with now.
Yeah, it was a slow start for Auburn, but they quickly ramped things up. They're 7-2 now. Next week, though, we've got Georgia, and the week after that, Alabama. So we've got 2 long weeks ahead of us. And really, a win for Auburn versus either one of those teams is going to upset
somebody.
A lot of people.
Well, Georgia's already in the SEC championship game. They clinched it this past weekend. Mm-hmm. If Alabama wins next week and Auburn was to lose to Georgia, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Alabama would clinch a spot too. But still, even if you've clinched, you don't want to lose to your rival.
No.
And you also... I mean, a loss, you don't know where that puts you in the college football playoff.
Exactly.
I mean, it's all humans sitting around trying to think who's better and look at the resume, and one loss could really put you down. But also some big upsets. Ohio State got killed.
I didn't watch it, but I saw the scores when I was looking earlier, and they looked like they got demolished.
They took it to the woodshed.
Yeah.
And I think they had like 8 top 25 teams lose yesterday. I mean, it was a lot. But Alabama did well. They played LSU. In Tuscaloosa, won 24-10, although we pretty much lost 2 linebackers, one linebacker, and also Well, no, it was two linebackers. Sean Dion Hamilton went down with a knee injury, same knee from last year, and I think Mac Wilson lost or is down with an ankle injury. I'm not sure if he's out for the year. I believe he is, but Alabama's got some good guys behind them. Keith Holcomb and then Rashad Evans is still playing too, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, the injuries yesterday don't make me feel any better about 2 weeks from now. The Alabama-Auburn game is always, no matter what has happened during the rest of the season or who is injured, that game is always intense.
Well, the worst thing about this is Alabama, let's say we win next week against Mississippi State, which I'm not, counting my chickens before they hatch, but then we play Mercer, like kind of a, in-between game. And the problem is that when you play a team like that, you just there's no reason anybody should get hurt. Let's just go ahead and put this team away. And I remember a couple years back, Amari Cooper took a shot on the knee from, I think it was Coastal Carolina, and went down. And we just saw our season go down the drain, and then he got up and he was better. But it's always the big fear. But on the other end of things, UAB became bowl eligible yesterday.
That's right, with a victory over Rice.
Yeah, and it was a butt whipping.
Yeah. The game was over pretty quickly as far as the score went, 52-21.
42 points in the first half.
Yeah. And
That's
UAB
amazing.
is now 6-3, so that's huge.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they could run the table, go 9-3. I mean, is Bill Clark the coach of the year? I mean, I know he probably is in the Sun Belt, but is he the national coach of the year, taking a team whose program was shut down for 2 years to,
I don't know.
Just to get to a bowl.
I don't know. On the one hand, yeah, of course. I think he's been.
I'm not the
done a
only
great
one that
job,
says that.
and
There's people saying that on Twitter and
it's just
on
some of the
ESPN.
opponents they've played. I think when you compare them to opponents other teams have played,
You're right.
aren't
I
going to
agree with
stack
that,
up.
but still, they're still competing in a regular conference. Like when I know I keep coming back to this, but the only team I know that has shut down a program and started back up again. When SMU shut down their program and they started back up again, they played Division III schools or two schools, and just and we're losing to them. They started up, and I think they played one division, one AA or whatever you call them now, and they're into a conference schedule. So they're playing legit football, albeit maybe not the competition Alabama and Auburn are playing, but for in their conference, they're doing
in their
excellent.
Conference. That's what I'm saying. So in their conference, maybe coach of the year, but overall, I don't know. That's hard to gauge. I think maybe on the same. I hate to say apples and oranges, but it's kind of apples and oranges.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But in UAB news, following up with that, Bill Clark has signed an extension for head coach position through 2022. On that extension, the terms are going to up his pay from to $900,000, and then through the term up to $1.15 million. So I think that'll make him the highest paid coach in that division.
That's great.
Pretty huge. Glad to see him sign that extension. Hope that it means he's planning on sticking around for a while. It's hard to tell if he wins bowl games this year and has a winning season next year. Who knows? I mean, things could change.
He's been mentioned for head coaching jobs such as Ole Miss.
Right.
I know he just signed this extension, but I will say this. If Ole Miss says, Bill Clark, we want you to be our head coach, I don't know how he turns it down. And not taking anything away from UAB or their football program, but it's Ole Miss. It's a SEC program. But him signing this extension at this point signals to me that he's committed at least through this year and at least through the next year, or I just can't imagine he would sign an extension like this only to leave. But if something were to happen to where he would go to Ole Miss or go to another, high-profile school, you can't blame him. I think what you can do is thank him, say thank you for sticking around, because when they cancel his program, he could have left and gone to another school.
Absolutely.
But you said the deal runs through 2022?
2022.
That's great. And did they mention a buyout of any kind?
No, I was reading the story from CBS, and they did not mention a buyout.
No buyout.
No. And there probably is one. I mean, I would imagine.
I'm sure there is. And it might be high. Maybe that's the reason. But no, that's a good sign for him to sign that extension.
Yeah. Wait, no, we got other sports news. We're going to extend out of football a little bit.
The Bulls.
So the Birmingham Bulls had their first home game this week, and they lost 2-1 to Knoxville, the Ice Bears, I believe Knoxville is. But the good news is it looked like the stadium was pretty well packed out.
It looked really packed.
The
and
arena.
They've done a lot of improvements to that Pelham. Is it the Pelham Civic Center?
Yeah.
They've done a lot of improvements. It looks really nice. They got a new video board. The ice looked great. It looked really top notch, and it looked packed. And that says a lot for like I said, a hockey team that didn't exist to move back into town, and especially in a place that's 85 degrees most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard rumors it was sold out, but I don't know if that was accurate or not. Looking at some of the pictures, you can see some empty seats. I don't know. Either way, there were a lot of people there.
Yeah.
So that's
when you
good
said
news.
ice bears, I had like the vision of like a big bear on ice skates dancing around.
That would be a different game altogether.
It would be.
Yeah.
It would be. But then the bulls on ice skates dancing around would be weird too.
True.
I would go see that. No, but the Bulls are owned by the same folks who own the Barons. This is kind of a reincarnation of a team that was very prominent in Birmingham years ago. Glad to see him back. Hockey has really taken off in a lot of southern cities. You look at Nashville, where they have been very successful, went to the Stanley Cup Finals, although they lost. But I have a cousin of mine from Huntsville, and he is a huge Nashville fan. So that's a good thing, and hopefully they can keep it going. I know they haven't been successful on the ice, but give them time. And they'll be successful for everybody else. So now we can take a break and hear from our friends over at Beach and Woodworks. And when we come back, we'll talk a little news on the Birmingham area. We'll see you in a minute. Beach and Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and Kanan Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beecham Woodworks creates affordable quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beecham Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And welcome back to the Red Mountain Express. Matthew, we're going to follow up on a story that we talked about. I have been looking at cutting the cord, and so have you. And you tried YouTube TV that's been available here in Birmingham. What did you think of it?
Right, yeah. So we talked about this several weeks back. Not a huge story, but something that I take a personal interest in. So my wife and I, we realized a couple of weeks ago that we have not turned on our AT&T cable box or receiver. I don't know, in maybe like 2 months.
Wait, what?
We haven't turned it on in 2 months.
Like
we have not watched live TV or satellite or cable TV in 2 months through that box. Now we've
how
watched,
is that possible?
well, because we watch things on Netflix, we watch things on Hulu. We stream stuff through the HBO Now
what about
app.
news? We do for news in the morning. Like I turn on.
I usually listen to NPR.
Which is free.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to it on the radio, or I listen to podcast, or a mixture of both.
Because why wouldn't you listen to podcasts, right?
Exactly, right? If there's a news story I really want to know more about, then I'll go online and find more articles on that story.
I'm just lazy. I just flip on the television.
Sure, yeah, which is fine. Like, it's fun. There, I have a certain nostalgic feeling about turning on the TV in the morning while I get ready and hearing the news as I walk throughout the house trying to gather up all my stuff. But nowadays, this is just who I am. Yeah. So we realized that, and we're going to cut our TV servers off and just have internet.
So it's done.
Yeah, well, that's done. And so I
right,
thought,
I'm looking at.
Yeah,
on the table, I was wondering, like, you can do box. The HDMI box is sitting right here.
I've got to return that to the UPS store to send it back to AT&T this week. So in effort to try and, I don't know, maybe figure out if we want to have any kind of TV service at all or just do what we're currently doing, I thought I'd try out YouTube TV. And I had a 7-day trial. And you know what? The channel lineup was okay. It was good. We had some local channels on there, had several sports channels, had a couple of like movie, TBS, TNT, USA, FX type channels. So I think maybe 30 or so channels overall. But the service, as I tried to use it, now full disclaimer, I wasn't using a Chromecast. I was doing it through my Xbox. And the service had a little bit of trouble keeping up sometimes. I had a couple of experiences where I would go to a channel and the audio would be behind by about 5 or 10 seconds, which is a pretty huge difference in audio.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I tried to turn on subtitles because sometimes I watch stuff with subtitles. I just like to read. And there was a big lag in those. Sometimes they wouldn't come up. Had a few channels where the audio would cut out completely and I'd get a bunch of screeches and clicks, which was kind of creepy at midnight when my wife's asleep and I'm trying to like play with the TV.
Were you in the upside down? Was that what this was?
It kind of felt like that. Yeah. So tried it over 3 or 4 days and had better experiences. Overall, they weren't all like that. Overall, the service worked fairly well. I think we're going to not go with it at this time though. I just don't feel like it's up to speed. My internet connection is solid. I'm somewhere around 45 to 50 megs usually download, which if you don't speak that language, that's a pretty good connection. TV should be able to keep up with that. I never have any trouble streaming Netflix or Hulu.
So are you happy with it?
I think I would use it if we use live TV, but I think at the end of the day, the thing is we don't use live TV. So what's the purpose of buying another, like we got rid of AT&T, that's made our bill cheaper, so now we're going to tack on another $30 or $40 for YouTube TV for live TV we don't use. So no, I think at the end of the day, we're not going to do it right now. If we decide we want local channels sometime down the road, we might try out one of the HD antennas that you just plug in through coax on your TV. Try out one of those, see if we have any service up here where we're at. Or you know what? You can stream most local stations on the internet. So,
we looked at Sling TV, or I think that's what it's called. And you can actually get a bunch of local channels and you can tailor it to what you want, kind of an a la carte type of TV deal. And to give you some background, we have Charter, and they are thieves. I will go ahead and say
they're all thieves.
They're thieves. Comcast. I had Comcast in college. Those folks are thieves. I didn't have internet for a month because it kept cutting out on me, and they still billed me, and they refused to take it off.
Yeah, and this is not an insult towards anybody that works for those companies. It's just the companies themselves have bad policies when it comes to what they charge for what they charge.
There are wonderful people that work for Charter and Comcast and AT&T. I have a really good friend that works for AT&T.
Right.
But we have a connection in the living room and that has HDMI, not HDMI, but DVR, and then we have just a regular connection in the bedroom that doesn't have. It's just a normal box, and we don't have anything crazy. We have HBO. That's basically because we have to watch Game of Thrones.
Right.
That's basically what it's for. I mean, I could cancel it for basically a year and a half now, and you turn it back on whenever Game of Thrones decides to come back on. But we pay $158 a month.
Yeah.
And so it just seemed like we watch TV. I mean, it's not like we don't ever turn it on, but we watch TV. And so we looked at Sling TV and we looked at everything that we had and we added it all up. And to pay for the internet through Charter and then have Sling TV, it would come out to roughly what we're paying now. And so that's why, why do I need to go through the hassle of switching to Sling TV when I can just get the same basic service I'm having now and pay just as much, maybe $1 or $2 more.
Right.
But when you're talking about the connection with YouTube TV, I can imagine that's only going to get better with time.
Oh yeah,
'Cause I remember Netflix when they first started all the streaming stuff. It was good, but you still had some problems. Now I rarely have problems with Netflix.
Yeah, any technological service, as long as it's getting popularity and getting money pointed towards it, should get better. And again,
and Google, they have money at Google.
Google's
right?
got a couple of dollars to
a few
throw
dollars
at
to throw at it. Yeah, I figured they did.
In my experience, overall with this service wasn't bad. It's just there were a few instances where it was less than good. And
how are you going to watch things like the Charlie Brown Christmas special?
I can't tell you the last time I watched that.
What?
It's not an anti-Christmas thing. Usually we're busy whenever that comes on TV. We're doing something else.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know. So anyway, we've got I thought
I knew you
into the weeds a little bit on that one because I know we had that story a while back, and if anybody cared about my experience with it, there it is.
I cared.
Try it out.
You told me that you didn't watch.
Try the 7-day trial out, and see what you think for yourself.
How much was the trial? Well, the trial was free, but how much is it if you want to just do YouTube TV?
I think. Now, I'm not looking at it on paper, but I think it said that if I continued, it was going to be $39.
That's not bad.
And that comes with a Chromecast, which is like $40.
We have what's the other one? The Roku.
Roku, yeah.
Which is good too.
Yeah.
Although it's probably 5 years behind, so.
So there's that. Now, in other news, another story where we talked about a couple weeks back, the Alabama Theater signage on 18th Street North. There was the
voting,
right? the big contest to see if they could get that sign replaced. Out of the top 25, Alabama Theater came in at 7th place.
Yeah, and they got some money, didn't they?
Yeah, $120,000 grant towards replacing that sign on 18th Street. So that's really cool.
And I know that, I don't know if that covers the entire sign, but I think they had some other partners come in and donate some money too. But, Matthew, they're planning to do a huge reveal, right?
Right. So the Alabama Theater's 90th anniversary is on December 26th of this year. On December 31st at midnight, they're going to unveil and illuminate the new sign. And I believe they're going to have a concert with Taylor Hicks and Sister Hazel that night.
I love them both.
Yeah, so that's going to be cool. I think tickets will go on sale for that soon. So probably pay attention to their website.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Alabama Theater, and I know you do too. That's kind of, I've said this 1,000 times, but I'll say it again. That's how I was introduced to Birmingham, so it kind of holds a special place in my heart. But they have the big, they have the summer film series, and they play Phantom of the Opera during Halloween, and then not to forget my favorite part of the Alabama Theater, the Christmas film series.
Yeah,
that's great.
It is. It's enjoyable.
You know what they play at that? Charlie Brown Christmas.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a matinee. Maybe you should go. Maybe I should.
They do it in December after Thanksgiving though, which is really nice.
It's pre-Christmas. Thanksgiving is kind of like, as a friend of ours said, the tailgating of Christmas. It's, you pregame. You just know when you're in college, it's 10 o'clock at night, you're going to go to the club or the bar, and you said, what, let's wait a little bit before we go. But before we go, let's tailgate a little bit. Let's pregame. And that's what Thanksgiving is. You pregame with some turkey, some dressing, then you put up the Christmas tree.
I'm going to look forward to Christmas more this year than ever before, because once we get to Christmas this year, we can finally stop having this discussion.
Oh, we're going to have this discussion. And then, we're going to have the episode after Christmas. Like, Blake, how you feeling? I'm depressed. Christmas is not here anymore. And then I'll do a countdown. 364 days till Christmas. I think we're 49 days.
This is my nightmare. This is my nightmare.
In other news, we could have mentioned this as sports, but it's a little bit bigger. UAB and the USL team, who does not have a name yet, are considering a lease agreement with their soccer stadium, the BVA Compass Stadium that houses the UAB soccer program. They were planning already to do some renovations to this. I think the renovations were going to total about $4.5 million, and it was going to increase the stadium capacity to 2,500. What they're going to do is now, if this deal goes through, it hasn't approved, right, Matthew?
Right.
It's going to increase the investment to $7.3 million and increase the stadium to 5,000.
The seating capacity.
Yeah, the seating capacity to 5,000. This deal is $300,000 for 8 years, and so that extra investment that's being made is going to come out of that revenue. This is a really good thing, although I will say I hope this has nothing. This doesn't have a negative impact on hopefully the new stadium that's going to get built in Birmingham, because I thought that's kind of what it'd be used for. But it's still a good plan.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see. A lot of that talk about a new stadium in Birmingham was coming from Mayor Bell's office.
Right.
Mayor Bell will be stepping down here in a couple of weeks. Mayor-elect Woodfin will be in office.
If you're listening, Randall, you promised to be back on our show. And you got both of our numbers. You got to call us, man. Anyway, I'm sorry.
We're coming off as a little bit clingy. Call us, Randall.
Randall, call us.
No, but
man.
seriously, call us.
Really, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, is it okay? You can text us.
So anyway,
send us a snap.
A lot of that, speculation and talk came out of Bell's office. So I guess we'll have to wait a few weeks or maybe a little bit longer to see if Woodfin carries on with those plans.
See if that's a priority in his administration. Yeah.
Because I know a lot of his campaign promises kind of revolved around spending that money on other places in the city. So we'll see. We'll see how the budget looks. I don't. It's been a while since I've tried to look at a Birmingham budget, but
yeah. And I imagine this deal wasn't sprung out of Bell losing that election. I mean, this stuff takes months.
Oh yeah,
to do.
No doubt.
It's going to have larger concession stands. It's good for UAB. It'll be good for the USL team when they take the field. I've seen the renderings. I think the Biz Journal ran a story on this. They have the renderings up, so please check that out. It looks really nice, and I'm ready for the team to have a name. I thought they were going to do that soon, but
yeah, and I haven't been watching the news for the USL team as much lately, so maybe they've snuck something in there, but I'll have to go and check later. I don't think they have.
Just call them the Red Mountain Express.
Wait. They can't. We've got that name. They can't have that name.
They could pay us for the name. I mean, or we could be They could be this. I don't know. We wouldn't sponsor anything.
Official partners with.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, we could be
if
the
you're
voice.
Listening, USL, we could comment
We're
on
your
your
voices
games. Yeah.
of the Red Mountain. I mean, I love soccer. I don't know all the rules, but I mean, I can figure it out.
I know 2 rules.
What's that?
You kick the ball towards the goal, and if it goes out of bounds, you have to.
Wow, you could be a referee.
Yeah. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, was there anything else in news?
Man, I think it was, like I said, I was out of town all week, and it was kind of a slow week. It really wasn't, nothing really big happened in the Birmingham. Yeah, it just wasn't a big week in news for Birmingham, and I'm sure we'll have some big stories for you next week. Join us next week for a new edition. Remember to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and also our episodes are loaded up on YouTube as well. So, that'll do it. For Matthew Joyner, I'm Blake Westbrook. We'll see you next week. This has been the Red Mountain Express.